محمدا عبده ورسوله وصفيه وخليله خير رسول اجتباه أرسله بالهدى ودين الحق ليظهره على الدين كله ولو كره المشركون إن أفضل الحديث كتاب الله وخير الهدي هدي محمد صلى الله عليه وسلم وشر الأمور محدثاتها وكل محدثة بدعة وكل بدعة ضلالة يا أيها الناس اتقوا ربكم واخشوا يوما لا يجزي والد عن ولده ولا مولود هو جاز عن والده شيئا إن وعد الله حق فلا تغرنكم الحياة الدنيا ولا يغرنكم بالله الغرور وبعد. My dear brothers and sisters, I start talking about the importance of keeping our children safe. Only 500 among those students are just writing down and taking note. The majority of the students are just watching and seeing Imam Ahmad ibn Hanbal radiallahu anhu, the way he talked, the way he smiled, the way he answered, the way he sit, the way he, just to learn from him the adab. This is how it was. Studying in the Islam or in the history of the Muslim. Why? It's very simple. Because the message of Islam, رسالة محمد صلى الله عليه وسلم, that Allah sent Muhammad صلى الله عليه وسلم with, is a message of Akhlaq. This is all what is about. The message of Islam is a message of Akhlaq. It's all about Akhlaq. It's all about manners, about ethics. This is Islam. The religion of Muhammad صلى الله عليه وسلم is the religion of the manner. He was sent to perfect and complete the manners for humanity, to help them, educate themselves to be human beings. So once they reach that level of humanity, that level of akhlaq, now they can have a good connection, or they can get a good taqwa or commitment with Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. You cannot not get close to Allah with a lack of manners. It's impossible. And this is what Nabi Aslam highlighted, and he said, the most close people to me the day of judgment are those who have a high standard of akhlaq, of manner and ethics. And the so far away people from me the day of judgment are people who have lack of manners. He didn't mention anything related to salat or siyam or zakat or hajj, or because everybody can pray. Prayer and ibadat are not it's not the way how we evaluate people. Your prayer will benefit you, only you. But your manners and the way you handle your affairs and the way you conduct yourself and the way you deal with the people and your children, that can affect people positively or negatively. Islam is a message of akhlaq, my dear brothers and sisters. And when I'm saying this, I'm not neglecting the aqidah. I'm not saying that the aqidah is secondary or third place or fourth place, and you are making the akhlaq first and the aqidah second. No, I'm not saying this. A'udhu billah. What I'm saying is, I consider al-aqidah, the creed, the belief of La ilaha illallah Muhammadun Rasulullah. I consider that concept of tawheed, which we call it tawheed. Aqidatu La ilaha illallah wa anna Muhammadan Rasulullah. This aqidah, I consider part of the akhlaq. This is how the scholars see the things. The whole, everything is akhlaq. And the aqidah is part of the akhlaq. Because the meaning of La ilaha illallah Muhammadur Rasulullah is very simple. Is that you cannot worship, you don't have the right to worship someone else beside Allah. You don't have the right. This is dhulm. This is unjust. And justice is part of akhlaq. It's part of the akhlaq. What is justice? To be just, to be fair. It's part of akhlaq. To be unjust is part of akhlaq. It's the opposite. You don't have the right to worship someone else besides Allah. You don't have that right. Because the only one who should be worshipped is the one who sustains you, the one who gives you the rizq, the one who protects you, the one who created you, and the one you go back to him. And this is Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. And no one has the right to be worshipped if he's not giving those service for the creation. So al-aqidah is part of the akhlaq. Al-ibadat is part of the akhlaq. Al-siyam is part of the akhlaq. Al-salat is part of the akhlaq. If your salat make you far away, or because of your salat you are harsh and you are rude and you are, you cheat people, your salat has question mark. You have a problem with Allah with your salat, because normally, supposedly, your salat should make you close to Allah. Your salat should it should soften your heart. And when you hear the ayah, you cry. And when you see something wrong, your heart moves and it pushes you to do something. This is the salat, تنهى عن الفحشاء والمنكر. A salat, avoid or refrain people to do evil, al-fahsha' and al-munkar. So if the salat is not working, means our salat has problem. We have to fix the salat, our salat. The same thing for siyam, taqwa, righteousness. What is righteousness? To do good and stop doing evil or stop evil. This is part of the akhlaq. What is zakat? Helping the poor and the needy. It's part of the akhlaq. What is the hajj? Go to the pilgrimage and see everybody and it looks like we are all in the same level. There is no amir and no ma'mur. There is no master and slave. There is no president and follower. We look all the same in front of Allah, in front of people, and we have all to humble ourselves to the divine Lord, to Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. It's part of the akhlaq. All the ibadat is part of the akhlaq. Our aqidah is part of the akhlaq. The message of Islam exactly is al-akhlaq. ليس البر أن تولوا وجوهكم قبل المشرق والمغرب. البر, righteousness, is not just to face the east or the west, or just, it's not decor. It's not, how you look. Righteousness, Allah said in this ayah, ayatul birr we call it. Scholars call this ayah, ayatul birr, the ayah of righteousness. If you want to evaluate people, it's based on this ayah. It's not because of their facing, they are looking for the qibla directly, they are strict. This is not what Allah wants from you. Just face the east, everything should go, every side is the east toward the Kaaba, that is sufficient. Tell me about your hearts. Tell me about the result of that facing. ليس البر أن تولوا وجوهكم قبل المشرق والمغرب ولكن البر من آمن بالله واليوم الآخر. One, البر is to believe in Allah and the last day of judgment, last day. والملائكة, and believe in the angels, والكتاب, and in the books, والنبيين, all prophets, وآتى المال على حبه ذوي القربى واليتامى والمساكين وابن السبيل والسائلين وفي الرقاب وأقام الصلاة وآتى الزكاة والموفون بعهدهم إذا عاهدوا والصابرين في البأساء والضراء وحين البأس أولئك الذين صدقوا وأولئك هم المتقون. It is not righteousness that you turn your face toward the east and the west, but righteousness is this, that one should believe in Allah and the last day or the day of judgment, and in angels and the books and the Nabiyyin, the Prophet, and give away wealth out of love for him to the near of kind, and the orphans and the needy and the wayfarer and the beggars and the captives, and keep up prayer and pay his zakat, and he perform, and the performers of that promise when they make a promise, and the patient in distress and affliction and in time of conflict. These are they who are true, and these are they who guard against evil. This is righteousness, my dear brother and sister. And you can very simply, when you check the ayah, it talks about what? Arkan al-Islam and Arkan al-Iman and Arkan al-Ihsan. This is the ayah what is about. It talks about Arkan al-Islam. You have in the ayah الصيام, الصلاة, والصيام, والzakat, and all Arkan Islam. And you have in the ayah Arkan al-Iman, to believe in Allah and the Messenger and the books and the Day of Judgment. And so those are Arkan al-Iman. And being between Arkan al-Iman and Arkan Islam, what do we have? Between Arkan al-Islam, the pillar of Islam, and the pillar of Iman, we have give your wealth, help the needy, keep your promise. When you give your word, you have to keep your promise. Those are akhlaq. There is no differences. There is no differentiation, there is no contradiction, there is no... This is the whole Islam. Akhlaq are between salat and siyam and iman billahi ta'ala. This is with these characteristics, Sahaba or Anbiya, the Prophet and Messenger, Allah talked about them highly. And He talked about Sayyidina Nuh. He said, إِنَّهُ كَانَ عَبْدًا شَكُورًا. He was a grateful abd, slave to Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. And He talked about Ibrahim, وَإِبْرَاهِيمَ الَّذِي وَفَّى, and Ibrahim who fulfilled his commitment with Allah. And He talked about Muhammad sallallahu alayhi wa sallam, and He said, وَإِنَّكَ لَعَلَى خُلُقٍ عَظِيمٍ. Ya Muhammad, you are on high standard of ethics and manners. This is how the messengers get that level with Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, the high level with Allah. It's cause of this, the whole package of Iman and Islam and Ihsan. And this is why there is a narration or someone said, at-tasawwuf is al-khuluq. At-tasawwuf, to be Sufi, is to have a high standard of akhlaq. And more you have akhlaq, more you become Sufi, or more you get, you are accepted, or you become on high standard in the Sufiya range. Imam Ibn al-Qayyim al-Juziyah, when he heard that statement, he made a comment in his book, Madarij al-Salikin, and he said, it's not the tasawwuf only who has al-akhlaq. He said, ad-deen, the whole religion is about akhlaq. And who teach you more akhlaq, he's giving you more deen and more religion. This is what Ibn al-Qayyim al-Juziyah, rahmatullahi alayh, comment on what Imam al-Kattani write down about tasawwuf and Sufism. And Imam Ibn al-Qayyim comment, and he said, no, tasawwuf is not, we don't consider only tasawwuf as part of the akhlaq, and then you are telling me al-akhlaq is separated, or it's part of the Islam. The whole religion of Muhammad sallallahu alaihi wasallam is about akhlaq. And whoever gave you more akhlaq and teach you more akhlaq, he's giving you more deen and more religion and more commitment with Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. This is how Ibn al-Qayyim rahmatullahi ta'ala alayhi summarizing, and he said, all that can be in two words. أن تكون مع الله بالصدق وتكون مع الناس بحسن الخلق. The whole things, you can summarize it in two words. Dealing with Allah with the sidq, trustworthy, honesty, and dealing with the people with akhlaq, husn al-khuluq. And Imam Ibn Taymiyyah rahmatullahi ta'ala alayhi, in his book, he said that you can say it differently in two words. Be أن تكون مع الله بالتقوى وأن تكون مع الناس بالإحسان. Is to be with Allah with taqwa and to be with people with ihsan. It's the same meaning. It leads to the same concept, the same meaning. Being with Allah with a sidq, honesty, and being with Allah with piety, taqwa, and being with the people or dealing with the people with husn al-khuluq, which is high standard, ethic, manners, good manners, or dealing with them with ihsan, with perfection. It's the same thing. And all those meanings are derived from one ayah from Kitabillah in Surah Al-Nahl 128, when Allah said in the Quran, إِنَّ اللَّهَ مَعَ الَّذِينَ اتَّقَوْا وَالَّذِينَ هُمْ مُحْسِنُونَ. Allah, surely Allah is with those who guard against evil, those who have commitment, those who have taqwa, righteousness, piety, and those who do good to others. This is the ayah that mentioned all what I'm talking about, except the scholar, they say it differently, but it's the same meaning. أن تكون مع الله بالصدق وأن تكون مع الناس بحسن الخلق. أن تكون مع الله بالتقوى وأن تكون مع الناس بالإحسان. It's the same meaning as the scholar said. And this is why رسالة الإسلام, the message of Islam, the message of Muhammad sallallahu alaihi wasallam is all about khuluq, and he said it very clearly, إِنَّمَا بُعِثْتُ لِأُتَمِّمَ مَكَارِمَ الْأَخْلَاقِ. I was sent only to perfect and complete the manners for people, for mankind, for humanity, to help them to be a human being, because without akhlaq, we are close to animal. People are close to animal than to human being when they lost their akhlaq, when they don't know why they are here, why they were born, why they were created, what they are going to do, what is their message in this life, what I'm doing here. When they don't know the answers for those questions, they will behave as animals and they will be far away from humanity. And this is why, what was the message I said, this is why Allah sent Jibreel to teach Sahaba about three things. In the first early days, He sent him to teach Sahaba with the presence of the Nabi alayhi salatu wasalam, to teach them about three things: what is Islam, and what is Iman, and what is Ihsan. And this is exactly what is Islam about. It's about Islam and Iman and Ihsan. So my dear brothers and sisters, don't blame me if I highlight the topic of Akhlaq every time I talk about the adab, every time I talk about the ethic, every time, and I try to include that Akhlaq in everything, all aspects, all my topics, all things I see through this way, I see through the Akhlaq. And the education is no far away, or it's not far away from the Akhlaq. Education is part of the Akhlaq. And when we read about our scholars, when we read about the life of our scholars, the history of Islam and Muslim, the history of Sahaba, companion of Nabi alayhi salatu wasalam, you will see that very, very highlighted. I mean, you cannot ignore it. It's impossible. Education is akhlaq. Education is not knowledge only. Education is akhlaq. And this is why Ibn Wahb, one of the most prominent scholars of Madhab al-Maliki, the student of Imam Malik, he said, Wallahi, ما تعلمنا ما نقلنا من أدب مالك رحمه الله أكثر مما تعلمنا من علمه. What we learned from Imam Malik, adab and akhlaq and manners, more than what we learned from his knowledge. It's all about akhlaq. And Imam Nafi' bin Abdullah, he said, جلست مالكا 40 سنة كل يوم أبكر وأهجر وأروح. More than 4 years I was committed to Imam Malik, to his class. Every day I go, I wake up in the morning and I stay the whole day and I leave the evening, all about learning from Imam Malik akhlaq. Because those akhlaq, those manners are the akhlaq of Sahaba that the Prophet Muhammad sallallahu alaihi wasallam taught them with. And it's very important to get this akhlaq and transmit it and inherit it in the next generation. And they used to say, وَكَانُوا يَرَوْنَ أَنَّ مُصَاحَبَةَ الْعُلَمَاءِ. This is why the importance of sitting or, having friends or being around the scholars and the shuyukh, they used to see it as part of their life. You cannot be a Muslim and be far away or be in a community where there is no murabbi, where there is no educator. I'm not saying teacher. Where there is no educator, murabbi. I'm not talking about knowledge, academic knowledge. I'm not talking about content, math and physics and science and social studies. I'm talking about akhlaq and manners that we inherited from the Prophet Muhammad sallallahu alayhi wa sallam. And كانوا يقولون حيثما كنت فكن قرب فقيه. Wherever you go, wherever you travel, try to make sure that you are close to faqih, to jurisprudence or scholar of knowledge, so that you can learn or you can teach your children the akhlaq of Nabi alayhi salatu wasalam. And the fatwa is very clear. The fatwa of our scholars, إذا لم يوجد مفت في مكان ما, if there is no mufti, an authentic scholars of Islam in any area, in any place where you can go, if there is no mufti who can teach you the akhlaq and the knowledge of Rasulullah sallallahu alaihi wasallam, that place for you is haram to live or to reside in. And you have to go and look for the first thing when you travel, when you migrate, when you travel overseas, when you go to any place, the first thing you have to make sure is in that place you have someone who can teach you and teach your children akhlaq al-Nabi sallallahu alaihi wasallam or Islam, or give you fatawa, or help you to perfect your relationship with Allah. This is what was the standard, and this is what was the focus of Sahaba radiallahu ta'ala and the scholar of Islam. And this is why they said كانوا إذا أراد أن يكتب الحديث تأدبا. Before they study hadith, before they study Quran, before they study fiqh, the first thing they will do is they study the akhlaq, how to sit in front of shaykh or scholar, how to learn, how to sit, how to listen, how to know, how even to ask. Because there is an art in asking, there is an art in questioning, there is an art in listening, there is everything, it has adab. That adab is the adab of nubuwwah, adab of Nabi alayhi salatu wasalam. And this is why Suhba, when they ask Imam Malik, Ya Imam Malik, who is the teacher, who is the authentic teacher, where we can we sit with someone, can we learn from someone who just have knowledge? He said no. And he gave his sixth condition, which I mentioned last Jumu'ah. He said he has to have suhbah. He has to have friendship. He has to have a long friendship with the scholar, with the shuyukh. So he is inheriting, or he is passing by those akhlaq from generation to generation. And this is what Imam Malik highlighted. وَكَانُوا يَقُولُونَ مَنْ أَرَادَ الْعِلْمَ وَالْفِقْهَ بِغَيْرِ أَدَبٍ فَقَدْ اقْتَحَمَ أَنْ يَكْذِبَ عَلَى اللَّهِ وَرَسُولِهِ. Whoever taught people without adab, he's close to lying, or he's close to deviating and misleading people. And they used to say, Ubadah ibn al-Samit radiallahu ta'ala anhu, he heard the Nabi alayhi salatu wasalam said, لَيْسَ مِنَّا, he's not among us. مَنْ لَمْ, who does not يُجِلَّ كَبِيرَنَا, who doesn't have respect for the elderly people. وَلَمْ يَرْحَمْ صَغِيرَنَا, and doesn't have affection and sympathy and mercy toward the youngest among us. And وَيَعْرِفَ لِعَالِمِنَا حَقَّهُ, and he doesn't know the rights of our scholars, of our shuyukh. This is what Ubadah ibn al-Samit heard the Nabi sallallahu alayhi wa sallam saying. It's all about akhlaq. It's all about manners. Our situation today, our problems today, it's not problem of education. I don't mean education. I mean, it's not problem of curriculum. It's not problem of teachers only. It's not problem of content. It's not problem of schools, buildings. The technology we have today, it's huge. Billions and trillions are all spent every year for the sake of this education. Technology in a big area, facilities. You have everything today. You cannot even dream sometimes the things that you can see in the school here and there. But the problems are the same. The problems are the same. It's the same challenge, it's the same difficulties. They never find solution for it. You send your children to study in the public school or in the school. You don't know how he will graduate with. You don't know if he will become doctors, or he will become a head of a gang, or he will end up in jail, or he will commit suicide and kill people. You don't know. No one has guarantee. You go to the schools, you will find out inside of each school you have a complete police department. Where you have a police, you have a cameras, no one trusts no one else. The student, they don't trust the teacher doesn't trust the superintendent, or no one trusts no one else. And everybody is scared. For nothing they can sue you. The parent can sue the teacher can sue the administration, and this is the whole world of education today. No trust. Do you think this is education? This is education. You send your daughter there, you don't know how she will end up with. Title 9. What is Title 9? It's for those who are in, I don't know how to say, those who are in middle school and they get pregnant. This is Title 9. This is education? You call this education? It's not problem of curriculum, wallah. It's not problem of books. It's not problem of lab and science lab and computer, and it's not problem, it's the problem of ethics, akhlaq, manners. And ethics and akhlaq and manners are related to religion. And religion you cannot extend, you cannot send out God out of school without akhlaq. Without Allah, without religion, you cannot perfect education. This is all what it's about. But no one can admit that. In all meetings, what I have been with educators in high level, no one has the courage to talk about God, about religion. And everybody has courage to talk about sex and about things. I mean, freely and without any complication. But when it comes to God and religion and talk about akhlaq and manners, everybody tries to hide. It's like something personal. It's not something personal. This is the essence. This is the heart of education. It's all about akhlaq. If those kids cannot behave, if you cannot keep them, without the akhlaq, I never heard in the history of humanity, or especially history of Islam, that Imam Malik used to have police around him. Watching the kids, because the kids can be a dangerous thing, or they can even kill the teacher, or they can get to the school with the guns, or they can get, we never heard that. Don't tell me this is another culture, and don't try to compare your culture to this civilization or this culture, because I will tell you that akhlaq is universal. Yeah. There is no abrogating and abrogated in matter of akhlaq, as well as in matter of aqidah. It's the same aqidah that Allah sent Adam and all the prophets and messengers, and to this last one. It's the same aqidah, creed and belief. And it's the same akhlaq as Allah sent it with Adam to Noah and Ibrahim and Shu'aib and Salih and Lut and Abraham, and all together they have the same concept of akhlaq. Lying is haram, is prohibited. It's prohibited, it's haram at the time of Adam and at the time of Muhammad sallallahu alaihi wasallam. It's the same. Akhlaq never changed. Akhlaq are universal, my dear brother and sister. And you can legislate rules after law after law, legislation after legislation. It's the same problem. It's the same headache. It's a matter of akhlaq. And why? Simply like Allah said in the Quran, ضعف الطالب والمطلوب ما قدر الله حق قدره والسماوات والأرض جميعا قبضته يوم القيامة. Or the ayah, which are the invoker and the invoked, they have not estimated Allah with the estimation that is due to Him. Most surely Allah is strong, mighty. Subhanahu wa ta'ala. When you make Allah, when you make God, when you make a religion out of your curriculum, this is what you are expecting. And you cannot change. You will change, it will be the same and the same and the same problem. So it's the lack of akhlaq, my dear brothers and sisters. And this is why knowledge in Islam is sacred. It's not because of the information. It's not because of how many hadith you collect, how many ayah you memorize. No. It's about the akhlaq of the ayah and the akhlaq of the hadith. Like Sufyan al-Thawri, she told him, oh my son, check how many words you memorize. If those words, if you memorize 10 ahadith, check your states, check your akhlaq, check your behavior, check your dealing. If that improves your akhlaq, you are benefiting from those 10 ahadith. If it doesn't improve your akhlaq, those ahadith, those 10 ahadith will be against you the day of judgment. This is how it was the advice of the mothers toward their children. They all know that this is the most important things. It's not the content, it's the quality. It's not how much hadith, how much books you read, how much. It's a matter of how you deal with the people. What is your transaction? You don't cheat people. You don't, curse people. You don't do this. You don't do that. You follow the steps. You follow the akhlaq of Muhammad sallallahu alayhi wa sallam. And this is why I said al-ilm or knowledge was sacred. And it's still sacred. One day Ibn Wahb was standing and he heard the adhan and he was making 2 rak'at. Imam Malik told him, where are you going? He said, to make nafil. And he said, sit. You were in ibadah. You are studying. That is ibadah. This is not less than what you want to do. Because knowledge is more important than the nafilah of prayer. Continue in studying, because more you study, more you elevate your soul and your mind and your heart to the level of human being, as Allah wanted subhanahu wa ta'ala. And this is why they said that al-ilm is the first stage of al-yaqeen. More you get knowledge, more you have conviction. Yaqeen. What Ibrahim asked Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. He didn't ask him, Ya Rabb, oh Allah, أرني كيف تحيي الموتى. قال أولم تؤمن قال بلى ولكن ليطمئن قلبي. Ya Allah, show me how you give life to death. Death for the dead, sorry. Show me. He said, is this matter of belief? You don't believe? No. Just to get more yaqeen, to get more conviction, more yaqeen, more certitude. This is why, so al-ilm is the first step. And this is why we have ilmul yaqeen, we have aynul yaqeen, we have haqqul yaqeen. So knowledge is levels. And the scholars or the Prophet and Messenger, they compete for those levels. Knowledge is the first step. This is why knowledge was sacred. And this is why scholars of Islam and the shuyukh and the arifin and the ulama always highlight the topic of knowledge for their murideen, for their students, for their followers. And they told them, it's very simple. Without knowledge, you are worthless. Without knowledge, you have nothing. More you get knowledge, more your level gets up in the eyes of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala and the community and so on forth. And this is why they said, I will repeat the statement, أن تكون مع الله بالصدق والتقوى ومع الناس بالإحسان وحسن الخلق إن الله مع الذين اتقوا والذين هم محسنون. أقول قولي هذا وأستغفر لي تغفر لي ولكم فاستغفروه فجدوه غفورا رحيما والحمد لله رب العالمين. اللهم اجعلنا الحمد لله حمدا كثيرا طيبا مباركا فيه والصلاة والسلام على سيد الأنبياء محمد وعلى آله وصحبه أما بعد. My dear brothers and sisters, after talking about the importance of the akhlaq in Islam, and that the message of Islam is all about akhlaq, ethic, manners, and high standard of manners, I will conclude and say that all our dealing need akhlaq al-Nabi sallallahu alayhi wa sallam. The way we are dealing with each other, we need to evaluate that transaction or that dealing or the way we are behaving, our reaction, our feeling, our emotion, our relationship, our ukhuwa, our institutions, our messages, our boards, our schools, everything we are handling, everything we are doing, it's need akhlaq al-Nabi sallallahu alayhi wa sallam. We need to evaluate ourselves and evaluate our meeting and check what we are doing if really these are the akhlaq of Nabi alayhi salatu wasalam. Do not consider akhlaq as soft subject. Everything needs to be evaluated based on the statement of Nabi alayhi salatu wasalam in his hadith. لَيْسَ مِنَّا, he does not belong to us. مَنْ لَمْ يُجِلَّ كَبِيرَنَا وَيَرْحَمَ صَغِيرَنَا وَيَعْرِفَ لِعَالِمِنَا حَقَّهُ. He doesn't belong to the followers of Muhammad sallallahu alayhi wa sallam, who doesn't know the respect of elderly people, those who are old, and وَيَرْحَمْ صَغِيرَنَا, and show mercy toward the youngest among us, and show respect and know the rights of the scholars and the shuyukh among us. And al-kabir, in the language of the hadith, in the meaning of the hadith, al-kabir, the elderly people, it's not just matter of age. No, it's not matter. Yes, the elderly people or the old people, those who are old, they have the full rights. But it's not only, Shari'at Nabi alayhi salatu wasalam, we believe, and our belief is that those elder people, it's not just only their right. You have to give them that respect because it's ibadah for you, not because it's courtesy. It's a matter of courtesy I have because you are old, go ahead and do it. No. When we do this, it's not of ibadah. We are worshipping Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala because this is their right which they deserve. تأدبا عن قناعة, convention, خاطر طيب, you do it by law, cause of law. And there is a lot of adab if you go to the books of the adab, the way you talk to them, the way you answer them, the way you address them, the way you give them the place, the way you give them the respect, the way everything is mentioned with the proof and evidence. And in the Islam, لِلْكَبِيرِ حَقًّا يُتَوَسَّلُ بِهِ. The Kabir has a haqq and has a right. And when he mediates, his mediation has to be taken into consideration. This is tawassul bil-kabir. Do not neglect someone elderly if he comes to you asking you something to do for fulan or fulana, and you say, he's an elder man, what I have to do with him? Because this is exactly what we have in the Quran. يَا أَيُّهَا الْعَزِيزُ إِنَّ لَهُ أَبًا شَيْخًا كَبِيرًا. This was the brothers of Yusuf went to the Aziz, to Yusuf, and they tried to tell him, إِنَّ لَهُ شَيْخًا كَبِيرًا, talking about Ya'qub alayhi salatu wasalam. And Nabi alayhi salam told us, when you go to ask Allah rain, al-istisqa, salat al-istisqa, start with those who are elderly people. Put them in the first line. Because if Allah will answer, if there is an answer, it's because of those people. They have respect and they have the right and they have, I don't know really if our education highlights those topics or not. I don't know if our children, they learn those things as aqeedah, as a belief, as as a part of their religion, as a part of their personality, or it's something that this culture completely neglects because they have nursing home who will take care of them. Here, al-hadith, Nabi Asam said, al-barakah ma'a akabirikum. Al-barakah, the blessing, will follow al-akabir. Those who are elderly people. Take benefit from them. Take from their expertise. Take from their knowledge. Take from their, they went through all what you are starting right now. Never neglect them. Al-barakah ma'a akabirikum. Nabi alayhi salatu wasalam, there is a lot of ahadith here. I don't want to mention all those ahadith because it's something obvious in the Islam. But unfortunately today, it's something new. When I mention some ahadith, people are astonished Is this really Islam what he's talking about? Is it really a hadith of Nabi alayhi salatu wasalam? من ليس منا من لم يجل كبيرنا. And al-kabir is not only someone who is older or elder in matter of age. Al-kabir is someone who has respect in his community. Someone who people hold him, or people have he has prestige, or people respect him because of who he is, because of his generosity, because of his experience, because of his knowledge. Because al-kabir is kabir, he is great with his knowledge, he is great with his experience, with his wisdom. This is what makes him kabir, even though he is maybe the youngest person in the community or in the family. So those people have to be given respect. And this is what the Nabi alayhi salatu wasalam, فَلْيَأُمُّكُمْ أَقْرَأُكُمْ لِكِتَابِ اللَّهِ. Look at the hadith, what says the Nabi alayhi salatu wasalam. Let the most knowledgeable in Kitabillah lead you in the prayer. To lead the prayer. He didn't say, let the older among you lead the prayer. He says, أَقْرَأُكُمْ, the most knowledgeable who read and recite and memorize Kitab Allah. Regardless his age. Now he said, if him and someone else are equal, means they have the same amount of the Quran, the same amount of perfection for the Quran, and one is older and the other one is younger, for sure the older has to go first, without any question about it. But when it comes to the qualification, when it comes to the knowledge, the qualification has to go first. And this is the Islam. This Islam has priorities. And this is what Nabi Hassan highlights. If you have two people, one is righteous and one is qualified, and you have a mission or you have any job or for the sake of the community, always start with the qualification. This is what the scholar says. Because your righteousness will benefit only you. It doesn't benefit people. And your lack of qualification will hurt everybody. But if you have qualification and you have less righteousness, your qualification will benefit the whole community. And your lack of commitment or your lack of righteousness will hurt only you. And this is how the scholars make priorities. Why? This is exactly what the Nabi alayhi salatu wasalam said, and this is what Allah highlighted in the Quran. وَلَا تَبْخَسُوا النَّاسَ أَشْيَاءَهُمْ وَلَا تُفْسِدُوا فِي الْأَرْضِ بَعْدَ إِصْلَاحِهَا ذَلِكُمْ خَيْرٌ لَكُمْ إِن كُنتُم مُؤْمِنِينَ. And do not diminish to man their things, and do not make mischief in the land after its reform. This is better for you if you are believers. Let the things be run the way Allah wants, the way Muhammad sallallahu alayhi wa sallam established it and taught the Sahaba, and the Sahaba inherited generation after generation, and the last ummah, the last generation will never succeed if they don't follow the footsteps of Nabi alayhi sallallahu alayhi wa sallam. My dear brothers and sisters, the Nabi sallallahu alayhi wa sallam said, Al-kibru batru al-haqqi wa ghamtu al-nas. Al-kibr, arrogance, is Al-kibru batru al-haq, when you see the things true, and when you see the truth and you know that it's true, and you try to hide it and you try to neglect it. Why? Because Fulan is close to me, we are from the same race, we follow the same approach, we belong to the same shaykh, we belong to the same philosophy, we look the same, we have the same color of skin, we talk the same language, we belong to the same culture. When you hide and you neglect the truth, this Allah or Nabi Hassan called it dhulm. And he called it kibr, arrogance. Al-kibru ghamtu al-haqqi, al-kibru batru al-haqqi wa ghamtu al-nasi. And because of Fulan, he doesn't belong, he doesn't look like you, you don't share with him the same color of the skin, or the same language, or inheritance, or culture, or so you neglect him, and you don't want even to support him. This is what is al-kibr. This is how we like to explain al-kibr. Al-kibr is not someone who is Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala give him fortune, or Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala make him rich, and because of his richness or he drive Mercedes, he is arrogant. Ha'udhu billah. This is ni'mah from Allah. Al-kibr, when you take the rights from people and you don't want to approve it, because why? It's matter of heart, it's matter of jealousy and envy. This is the kibr of the Nabi Hassan talk about it. الكبر بطر الحق وغمط الناس. And the Nabi sallallahu alayhi wa sallam أمرنا, Aisha radiallahu anha, she said, Rasulullah ordered us أن ننزل الناس منازلهم فأعط كل ذي حق حقه, to put people in the rank they deserve. Well, don't make someone up and he doesn't deserve that level. Put him in the place he deserves, based on what Allah gave him. And this is what Allah said in the Quran, فَأَعْطِ كُلَّ ذِي حَقٍ حَقَّهُ. If he deserves 10 inch, give him the 10 inch. If he does mile, give him a mile. This is exactly what the Nabi sallallahu alayhi wa sallam and what Allah said in the Quran, وَإِذَا أَتَاكُمْ كَرِيمُ قَوْمٍ فَأَكْرِمُهُ. All those ahadith just to show us the importance of أن ما ليس منا من لم يجل كبيرنا. Is not among us someone who does not show respect to the elder people among us. We still have from the hadith the last two parts, ولا يرحم صغيرنا. He doesn't show mercy toward the youngest among us, and he doesn't know, or he doesn't show respect to the scholars among us. This I will highlight بإذن الله the next جمعة. أسأل الله تعالى أن ينفعنا بما علمنا ويزيدنا علما وعملا متقبلا. ربنا آتنا في الدنيا حسنة وفي الآخرة حسنة وقنا عذاب النار. اللهم اجعلنا مسلمين واحشرنا مع المسلمين واحشرنا مع سيد الأنبياء والمرسلين محمد بن عبد الله صلى الله عليه وسلم. يا الله اللهم اغفر لنا ولإخواننا الذين سبقونا بالإيمان. آمين. ولا تجعل في قلوبنا غلا للذين آمنوا. اللهم اطف بنا واغفر لنا وارحمنا واسترنا وعافنا واهدنا واهد بنا واجعلنا هداة مهديين. أقول قولي هذا وأستغفر الله لي ولكم فاستغفروه تجدوه غفورا رحيما. والحمد لله رب العالمين. وقوموا إلى صلاتكم.